Item 8, public hearings. Notices have been posted, published, and mailed. Hold public hearing, waive first reading, introduce an ordinance amending Chapter 4.40 of Title 4 of the San Bruno Municipal Code relating to massage regulations. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I had reported to the council previously, San Bruno does have a regulatory scheme for regulating the massage industry in San Bruno. And essentially that consists of requiring establishments to obtain licenses from the city and those wishing to perform massage services to obtain permits. The purpose of this is to protect the health and welfare of users within San Bruno of those services. Now, more recently, the state enacted a law which in part takes away some of the local control that cities have enjoyed to date in regulating the massage industry. And it has now become a mixture of is subject to both state and local control. And what the state did was it's established through a new set of laws a certification process that is voluntary. And when massage practitioners obtain certification from the state, then they are no longer required to come to the city and get a permit. In addition, those practitioners who are sole proprietors or who employ only state certified massage practitioners are also exempt from those requirements. As a result of this state law, it was necessary to amend our city's code to come into compliance with the state law. And there are really three approaches that a city could use to do that. One approach is to apply just a broad exemption and just exempt the practitioners who gain state certification. This is an approach used by a number of cities. A second approach is to require instead that all practitioners, whether normally subject to city regulation or who would have been subject to city regulation, to now join the state practitioners and obtain a state certification so that they all have to go through that process. The third way to approach this is to continue to regulate existing massage practitioners under the city's existing authority and existing regulations, and then also create a scheme of control to the extent allowed by state law to regulate state certified practitioners. And this is the approach that I am recommending, and I have made the amendments in conformance with that. So what it does is it creates sort of two classes of persons who have to be regulated differently. Those who do not get state certification and continue to be regulated under the city's existing laws, and those who do get state certification and who are to some degree exempt from city control, but who can be required to do certain things. So the way we have set that out in the ordinance, with the help of also the police chief and the community development director who assisted in this, is to require those who are exempt to come to the city and provide evidence of that. And those who do that will be given a certificate of exemption. So this way it allows the licensing authority within the city to apply the correct set of regulations to these two different classes of massage practitioners. Although there were a myriad of changes in the code, I'm not going to go through those. Those are detailed in the staff report. I would just point out two important changes. One relates to the updated definition for what it constitutes a recognized school of education for massage therapy. And the second relates to the number of hours that are necessary in order to get a certification within the city. The main change that I'm recommending is that because state practitioners, if they go through that process, they're required to have either 250 hours if they're a practitioner or 500 hours to become a massage therapist. And it seemed to me there should be no reason that the other practitioners within the city who don't seek that state certification should be any less qualified than those going through the state process. So I've made the hours equivalent. So whether you're getting a state certification or you're coming to the city to get a permit or license, you have to have the same number of hours. Now, in recognition of the fact that it may take some time for existing massage practitioners who are not seeking state certification to come into compliance with those requirements, massage technicians would be given 2 years to come into compliance with the greater educational requirement, and trainees would be given 1 year, where under our existing code, they were only required to get 35 and 70 hours instead of 250 and 500 hours of education like the state certified personnel. So with that, do any of you have questions for me?
Any questions of staff this time? Irene?
Just one, and I may have overlooked it when I read this. Are they required to display their certificate?
Our city would require that if they get a certificate of exemption, and we're allowed to require this by state law, they have to show certain things to our licensing authority, which is through the finance department. And then they would have to show that certificate of exemption, or if they're not state certified, they have to show the city permit or license.
To display it, so customers could come in and
Correct.
see it? Okay.
It has to be displayed.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair.
That's all I have.
Councilman Lamberre?
Pamela, in the background of it states some guidelines that our ordinance has, and then it goes into other things, but then the new regulations state that zoning restrictions are not allowed now because.
So for persons who are not state certified, our existing zoning regulations, which limits the location of massage establishments, that will continue to be in existence. However, for state certified practitioners who are sole practitioners or who employ, or a business that employs only state certified practitioners, the city can apply no greater or different zoning regulation to them than they do to other personal or professional services, medical offices, accountant services, etc. So this will allow them to be in places that they have not been before. So in conjunction with that, actually, there is if this is approved, or rather introduced this evening, there will also be an amendment that would need to go through the Planning Commission to establish those new zoning rules.
I'm aware of a reputable business that probably would not qualify on the 500-foot guideline to residential.
Now there will be, if they seek state certification, which is voluntary, they could qualify potentially for this exemption.
They're in existence now, so they must qualify in some other.
Well, I can't answer that
Okay.
because I'm not sure, but
Okay.
where they're located or what that business is, or whether they're someplace they're not supposed to be.
Oops.
Any further questions of staff? Okay, this is a public hearing. Any members of the public wishing to address the council? Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Council discussion or action?
Your chair, motion to waive the first reading.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
The chair would like to introduce the ordinance for adoption.
Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Ruane.
Aye.
Councilmember Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Ibera.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Mayor Franzella.
Aye.